Welcome back to my channel, The 92 Ghost. Well, today we're diving into Of Ash and Steel, an indie open world RPG that's trying hard to leave a mark. But is it rough around the edges or just misunderstood? Let's break it down. The pros and the cons from my first few hours in the game. We'll start with the cons because they are a bit more than the pros, so let's start with this one. No clear guidance. Quest felt forced and unnatural. For example, being told to use someone's speaking with someone specific to get an item from them instead of going and finding that item on the ground, which would be more logical. There was this quest in the beginning in the tutorial area where you had that quest where you had to go and find a weapon with which you can duel with the one of the boys that were working on the ship, and then he says that if he offers for a duel so he can prove himself, and then he says that we need to find our own weapon since we suggested or something among those ones, and then uh, while he was explaining that, he said that it would be a stick or a wood piece or something among those ones that could help out. And when I went to go and search for it, it wasn't an interactive item on the ground. You had to go and find the NPC that had to give that his leg so you can use it as a weapon. It's funny, don't get me wrong, but the logical way in which most players would think about is either go find a weapon chest, ask a few of the knights or the guards on the camp, or for example go grab a stick on the ground, or well, a dried wood or something like that would make a perfect weapon, training weapon that is. So yeah, that was one of the things that I disliked. And then later on you have this other quest that you have to go and find 4 wheels for a random guy on the path, and you go back into a village which you've just cleared up, and there's several carriages, and no one is using them, and the woods are already perfect condition. Then you cannot just go and grab those and go back to that guy and give them to him. You have to go and find the 4 wheels that he lost, and as per his instructions you have to do it in the north, and the north is not small part of the map. There's no specification where exactly to go. But enough of that rambling about this. So let's continue with other cons, and I will be a bit more briefer here because it would take hours to explain all of that. So awkward character movement, jumping and climbing animations feel jank. Let's be honest, the game is indie. I understand that some of the money needs to be spent somewhere else, but there is plenty of free assets that you can use that are way better than the ones they are using for movement, walking, running, and so on, and climbing, and so on. And it's just no, it's not working. I mean, they could do better, in my opinion. Plus, they have an artist, they have game lead design, and so on. They could work something out, in my personal opinion. It's simply the way the character walks, move, and so on is just it's not realistic. Not for the environment, but as a whole, for the game. I mean, it's you're jumping what was the word? A chicken or something like that. You get the idea. Stamina and difficulty balance. Stamina punishes aggressive combat too early. Difficulty is solid, but that progression feels underwhelming. Basically, you are given no armor or proper gear or proper weapons to handle the content that comes to you. You kill several wild animals, and then you find several NPCs around the map. You speak with them. You can grab a dagger or something from one of them, and in the other you find two guards, but you cannot strip like the dead guard from his armor and stuff like that. It's just it doesn't work this way. I mean, do it like Kingdom Come Deliverance, like Dune Awakening, or like I don't know, like Conan Exiles as well. Like you can strip the whole gear from the dead enemy, and then you can put it on and use it as yourself. I would have done that if I was like mm, in this situation like our main character. After save glitches. Manual save breaks after save. Lost 30 plus minutes of progress multiple times. Yeah, it happened. And a lot of times. Let's say a lot of times. And it was absolutely frustrating. They need to fix that bug as soon as possible. And for a suggestion, I would recommend to have like an option in settings in gameplay, like an option to custom after save intervals, like every 5 minutes or upon entering a combat and so on. Like it saves like at that point, or when you end the combat it does save at that point, and that is for the normal mode. I'm not talking about a hardcore mode because there is one. So yeah, you get the idea. Lip sync issues. Wow, I was playing and some lip syncs were good, others were like way out of place, and there was like something said by the voice actors that weren't like reflected on the NPCs like faces and lips and so on. I think that this could be fixed very easy if you like get an AI like lip sync tech, which would like fix that issue for a few hours. Maybe it would take it a few hours, but it can fix like tons of issues like that. And of course, that would boost the immersion into the game. Unreal Engine 5 limitations. That is con 6. Basically, you will have the generic assets and performance hiccups like shaders whitening that come with the Unreal Engine 5. And I believe that those can be fixed if you like make the models high definition with more sharpening, and then the alternative way is to like hire an artist and change the whole style of the game. So the game has a specific style. It reminds me quite a bit of Gothic. So I believe that the artist that is like the lead artist, he can like sit up with a few other artists and just make the style more unique, so we can like avoid the Unreal Engine 5 stuff and make it like more closer to the Gothic type of style. That would help quite a bit. A limited survival realism. Kendrick River Lake water feels immersion breaking. Yeah, basically, you get quite often like thirsty, and then there is like a whole river running right next to you, but you go like into the river, but for some reason you cannot drink from it, or at least gather water in an empty bottle. And then like boil it up so you can like clear it up and then drink it. None of that is happening, and this is like it's breaking the immersion. It's breaking literally the immersion, and this needs to be improved. Directional start, no city access for hours, minimal narrative hooks early on. So basically we have like starter area with the tutorial where there's like absolutely zero explanation on where the items are. There are like a few like hints here and they're like completely spread out, and you cannot like find the specific thing where the hint was set and so on. This is like a big issue in my opinion, and this needs to be fixed, at least for the tutorial area. On the next, when you like start the game itself, the things change, like the quest items and stuff like that start to glow, which I find quite more how to say it, quite more like you have like a clear idea what you need to go and get, and you can see it like from like 5 to 10 meters away from you or something like that, from your character, I mean. So yeah, it works, but it's not there for the tutorial, at least not for tutorial. And there is like again the issue, I will go to like repeat myself with the four wheels, where the NPC says that they are up north, and then when you go up north you find only one wheel, and then you go further north you find a camp with cutter camp where there's like no wheels and you cannot even ask for like help for those wheels to be made. And then you have like further go, if you go further into the north, then you got go find like a camp or something like that where I think the wheels are, but you cannot like beat the NPCs there because you don't have proper gear, you don't have proper weapons, and that is causing an issue. It's just the progress is not there. Combat window bug. Mouse drifts outside the window during fights, causes missed actions and deaths. Yeah, basically what happens is that when you're in the middle of the battle and for some reason if your like mouse leaves the game window, first it's like invisible and you cannot understand when it's happening, and then when you try to like attack or dodge or something like that, it just doesn't register because the mouse is out of the window. And of course this leads to like getting killed since the game itself is like a bit like a Dark Soul game where you have like a limited amount of dodges. You can dodge like 3 to 4 times, and then you have like health that you can lose like in like 2 to 3 hits maybe, something like that. This needs to be fixed, of course, like the mouse to never leave like the game window unless the player like minimizes the game or something among those lines. Sorry. So yeah, that is an issue that needs to be fixed as soon as possible, together with the autosave, because it's absolutely infuriating. And no, just no, it needs to be fixed, at least for the normal and for the story mode, that's for sure. Okay, gear and progression frustrations. I already mentioned a bit about that, but basically there is like no lootable gear from defeated NPCs or enemies, so to speak. I'm speaking like for human enemies or like enemies that died um, by different like conditions and so on, and the game just doesn't allow you to like strip them off and take their gear and put it as in your own. And then you wear basically the same racks for quite a bit, and just it feels like you are not prepared for the harsh environment that you're entering most of the time, which needs to be fixed. It just needs to be fixed. The next thing that is more like a personal point. Basically, I'm a huge mage fan, and I wanted an options to like see or somehow use or connect to the magic into the game so I can unlock like a magic tree or something among those lines, but regretfully that wasn't possible, at least for the first 3 to 4 hours which I played in the game. I believe that maybe this is something along the lines with the gothic like playstyle where you have to go further into the game and then you can unlock it like in the middle of the game or something along those lines. But yeah, it's not like productive. If like someone like man like me who like loves to play mages and sorcerers and stuff like that, we need the option to be able to become mages or sorcerers from the beginning, and it needs to happen during a tutorial or at least in the first few hours of the gameplay, and this just doesn't happen. And I saw like several options for that to happen, like shining crystals, shining mushrooms, and other things that you can go like grab, connect with them via empathy or via like magical link or something among those lines. It just doesn't exist here for some reason. And of course, that leads to the next point, which is like I felt boxed into my melee combat only, and I don't like that. For example, the game shows us magic, and then that magic doesn't exist. Well, at least for us in the beginning, and this needs to be changed and upgraded. So let's go with the pros, because the game has a few pros and we're going to go through them. So story delivery, while familiar, the medieval tone and voice acting felt authentic. That is very true. Whoever the voice actors are, they're very good. They mm, deliver the lines professionally with emotion, the proper with the proper voice and with the proper like dialect and so on. So yeah, definitely authentic. Basic tutorials, decent introduction to crafting and interactive elements. basically when you go to like a station, a workstation of some kind, regardless if it's woodcutter or is it like armor reinforcement or weapon sharpening or weapon reinforcement and stuff like that, it explains like extremely well like it pauses the game and then it says on the side that it could be like what you can do with that and how you can like progress further. But that is basically every other survival game. Okay, so immersive character personality. Main character feels believable as a cartographer dropped into chaos. Basically, the character that you play with, the main character, the one that you enter, and the one with in which you are like in his shows. So yeah, he he's authentic to his character. I will leave it at that. He's a cartographer, and there's like a few interactions which make it believable and authentic, and you know, quite immersive. Quest design with old school flavor. Well, we're getting to something quite good. So basically, reliance on NPC dialogue for Gandalf is refreshing. I mean, Gothic 1 had that, Kingdom Come Deliverance had that, Dune Awakening have that, and among other things. But they like also have like some kind of map marks for some of the quests, which are hard to find and so on. And I find this like quite refreshing. I mean, you go like to an NPC, you receive an quest, and then the NPC says where you have to go and complete that quest. And then I would have liked like to go and like open a map and see where exactly the quest is, but that is not possible. There's like no guidance in the game, which cause like issues the further you go in, and sometimes like when you follow your logic it doesn't fully match with what the game has provided you with information, well, the NPC, and yeah, that needs improvement. And the funny thing here is that I will add here con in the middle of like the feedback here, but basically your guy is cartographer and then he doesn't have a map, and that is crazy. I mean, how come your character is like uh, a cartographer and he doesn't have a map on him? He doesn't have any map on him. He doesn't have even a mini map with him where we can follow like stuff and so on. And I guess that this is unlocked in the city where you have to go, which honestly I didn't reach that city for at least 4 hours, and that was frustrating as well because I was getting at the tougher and tougher and tougher enemies, and then I found all the other kind of like pathways which guides you to a different um like locations that are for higher level when you're geared and so on. And that city I just couldn't understand where the hell was it, and that is disappointing. That is disappointing because I would expect like if I go further in, then I was like saved from a guy, and then that guy brought me back like to health, and then he told me go follow the main road, do not like go away, like don't go like distracting, just follow the path. And I did that, and I didn't find the city. I found quite a bit like spreading, don't get me wrong, like different routes and stuff like that, but I didn't find the city, and I couldn't like check a map or something so I can know where I go, like for a mark or something among those lines. I mean, I'm a cartographer and I don't know where I am, basically, which is annoying, extremely annoying. And one final pro here, so solid world building. Environment captures the mood. That is true, but early lack of foreign part interactions hold it back. So what I mean is part interactions. You have like several like interactions during the gameplay through, where in my personal opinion it would be better to like save that character. For example, I sacrificed my well-being so I can heal a knight who was like dying right next like after the tutorial area. There was like an event, and that caused one of the characters, like most of the characters, like, well, we'll find out, but basically the quest says that you can either like drink the potion to save yourself, or you can like give it to like the knight, so you can help him out, and then you go and do that, and you even go and find his weapon, and then when you return with his weapon, he's dead. And that was extremely disappointing. I mean, what was the point of like helping him, healing him, and stuff like that, bringing him weapons only to find him like he's dead? And I really wanted him in the party. I mean, I would have liked to be, I would have liked him to be in my party, so I could get like easier, like the challenge in the game to be like less, less hard, like less challenging, because I'm a cartographer. I'm still in the beginning. I would prefer like to have a party companion and so on. So yeah, and this like opens other options like romance and stuff like that, which will further like immerse you in the world, which was extremely lacking in this game, and that was like disappointing. And there was like later on another like young boy that was like the charming rogue thief or whatever you want to call him, and then he goes and betrays us basically. So I'm hunting him down basically, but I would have liked if he like joined me or something. But anyway, we shall see. Maybe he will join us in the future. I don't know. But that is from me. So is of Ash and still worth your time? There's a promise here. The tone, the word, the challenge, but it's buried under uneven systems and design choices that need refining. Reward systems should uplift the player, not wear them down. I will revisit the game with a full playthrough later if it wins me over. Until then, let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you had similar experiences. Of course, don't forget to like the video as well and share it with friends